UFC 283 predictions will see at least some clarity at the top following UFC 283 this Saturday. For the light heavyweight championship main event, the result answers a straightforward question. Who holds the UFC title at 205 pounds? That's not the same thing as who is the UFC's best at 205 pounds, Yuri Prochazka. Get well soon, but either Glover Teixeira or Jamal Hill will etch their names in the promotion's history books with a win as Teixeira looks to become an unlikely two-time champion at the age of 43 and Hill looks to become a first-time champion after being on the fringes of the title picture just 2 months ago. With Prochazka out for the foreseeable future, and the recent Jan Blachowicz vs. Miguel Nankalev title fight failing to settle anything, the vacant light heavyweight strap now travels to Rio de Janeiro in the hopes of finding an owner. Expect the Brazilian fans to roar when Teixeira fights in his home country for the first time since 2015 and possibly tear down the Jeunesse Arena in a fit of sheer ecstasy should he become champion again. The co-main event might not stoke the same emotions, but it won't be for lack of history or the talents involved. Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno have done everything in their power to ensure that their rivalry will never be forgotten and their fourth fight has the potential to be the best yet. Some fans might be sick of seeing the same two guys fight for the flyweight belt with several worthy contenders waiting in the wings, but if this continues to be an annual tradition, the two have fought for the title in 2020, 2021, and 2022, then you can sign me up for another decade of the Figueiredo-Moreno Cup. In other main card action, top title contenders look to make a statement at welterweight and flyweight as Gilbert Burns fights Neil Magny, and Lauren Murphy fights Jessica Andrade, plus Paul Craig battles Johnny Walker in a light heavyweight bout to open the pay-per-view. What? UFC 283. Where? Jeunesse Arena in Rio de Janeiro. When? Saturday, January 21st. The card begins with a 6-fight early prelims portion on ESPN Plus at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with continuing coverage of the 4-fight prelim card on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN Plus beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The 5-fight main card begins at 10 p.m. Eastern Time and is available exclusively on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Numbers in parentheses indicate standing in MMA Fighting's global rankings. Glover Teixeira, 2, versus Jamal Hill, 10. My brain is telling me that Glover Teixeira outclasses Jamal Hill in every department, and sometimes it's best to just not overthink things. Yes, there's certainly a world where the considerably younger Hill comes out guns a-blazing and starches Teixeira. It happened once before when Anthony Johnson scored a stunning 13-second knockout of Teixeira, and while Hill isn't nearly as highly regarded a puncher as the late Rumble, he's shown a deft finishing touch. According to DraftKings, Hill is actually a slight favorite to beat the former UFC champion, so clearly there's public confidence in him. But I can't pick against Teixeira in a matchup where he has such a huge experience advantage, particularly when it comes to championship-level fights, not to mention his elite grappling. It just so happens that Hill isn't the best at stopping takedowns, and even if he's been drilling wrestling defense since the day that this matchup was announced, it still won't be enough. Teixeira's old man strength won't be denied. Besides, if this stays on the feet, it's not like Teixeira is a sitting duck up there. He stood and traded punches with the best of them, which is to say legends who are far more accomplished than Hill. Talent and hard work can take you a long way, and Hill deserves credit for making it this far, it's just not his time yet. Teixeira by submission. Pick. Teixeira. Deiveson Figueiredo, 2, versus Brandon Moreno, 3. At this point, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno know everything there is to know about each other, so now it's just time to do the damn thing. It's useless to dissect the technical aspects of this matchup in an attempt to predict the winner because we've seen how evenly matched these two are. Figueiredo has the edge in power, Moreno the edge in speed and volume. Both are high-level grapplers, both have great finishing instincts, and both have sturdy chins and deep gas tanks. These are two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, as you might have heard. Honestly, if you ran this back 100 times, I doubt either man would win the series by more than a handful of fights. Like, 53-47 at best. We've seen Figueiredo outpoint Moreno only to be foiled on the cards by a point deduction, we've seen Moreno run through Figueiredo, and we've seen Figueiredo win a close one. In all likelihood, these two spend another 25 quality minutes inside the octagon, but you could talk me into either fighter finding an early finish too. Anything is possible, which is why this feud has been so magical. To avoid flipping a coin, they'll stick to this rule. I don't believe Figueiredo can beat Moreno twice in a row, and vice versa, so in my hypothetical Best of Infinity series they are destined to trade wins until the end of time. And it's Moreno's turn. Pick. Moreno. Gilbert Burns, 5, versus Neil Magny. No matter what happens Saturday night,